I'm going to play devil's advocate on this question. Here's my question in general, and it's not really a rhetorical question. I think it's a real question. Like, where did you learn what you believe about relationships and marriage and what men are supposed to do and what women are supposed to do? Do you think that came from the church or from society?
I think it's a combination.
Right.
Combination, community, society, and experience, just living.
Right.
And seeing the wrong way, me experiencing the wrong way, doing things the wrong way, getting married, getting divorced.
Right.
Figuring it out. Knowing that I was too young when I did get married the first time. You know what I'm saying? Actually, do that.
Right. That's where a lot of wisdom comes from, right? Is from making mistakes, right? Yeah. So how about this? What if the source material for what you believe is faulty? Right? Like, okay, so we see some trends. If you look at the last 100 years and specifically the last 50 years, there's some pretty obvious trends with regard to what's happening between men and women, especially in the arena of marriage, right? And those trends don't particularly look good, right? And it's interesting to me, Bill Burr has a funny joke. He's like, why do people still get married? Hasn't anyone looked at the stats? And so what if all of this goal to be married and desire to be married and believing that marriage is the only outcome to two people getting together, what if all that's wrong? Right? Then what? Like, cause here's the thing, right? I like to look at evolutionary biology because I find it fascinating to study how human beings started on Earth, right? And you and I have kind of talked about this in a little bit before, and the idea like, what are we designed to do as humans? What is our DNA instructions that are housed in the smallest part of our brain, the little brain stem at the back of our brain? That's where all of our instincts, all of our initial programming as humans is housed, right? And that is basically feed yourself, right? So you're driven to go out and find food so that you can stay alive, keep the organism alive. We're also programmed to make other humans, so the species perpetuates. And lastly, we're programmed to avoid things that want to eat us, right? Yeah. That's it. That's like the basic wiring that humans have. Now, the interesting part of human beings is that we have the ability, because of our huge frontal cortex, we have the ability to manipulate our environment to a higher degree than any other animal. All right, because there's actually not that many differences between humans and animals, right? Humans wear clothing, humans cook their food, and we use symbols to communicate. Those are the only three differences between us and animals, right? But as far as our capability goes, we have been able, we've gotten so good at manipulating our environment that we can literally split an atom. No other animal can even conceive of an atom for as much as we know, but we figured out how to split the atom. We've gone atomic in our ability to manipulate our environment. And it's a significant difference. But if we sort of stick with the original programming, right, then as we go on in society, and then society starts making rules for behavior, like this is good, this is bad. And then religion comes in and says, oh, that tingly feeling between your leg, that's not good. That desire you have, like in the Ten Commandments, it doesn't say don't rape children. It doesn't say, there's weird omissions in the Ten Commandments. But one of the strangest, actually, in my opinion, the strangest commandment is thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Because covet is just desire, right? So it's telling me that I should not. So we're talking about a thought crime, right? We're told that thinking about our neighbor's wife in a lustful way, in a desirous way, is wrong. So now we have this interesting mix of societal rules, chew with your mouth closed, don't put your elbows on the table, wear clothing so you're not naked, don't show your tits in public. We have all these rules. And then on top of that, we have a religion that says this is wrong, that's a sin, this is bad, whatever, this will get you to hell, all this other stuff, right? And I won't debate the merits of that. People can decide for themselves whether it makes sense to them. None of it makes sense to me, but that's just my imagination, right? So if you have this combination of societal rules and religious precepts they've been in operation for a long time, and yet the trends for relationships and marriage are on a downward trajectory, because we're talking about in 7 years, by the year 2030, it's projected that women over 30 are going to be 50% unmarried and without children. That's going to be the highest ever recorded for that age group, right? And again, we can figure out whether it's good or bad, but I think it's interesting that all of these ideas have been around for so long, and yet we're not getting better outcomes. So I start to question the ideas. Maybe it's the ideas that are problematic. Maybe telling women that they should be ashamed of their sexuality is wrong. Maybe telling men that they're toxic for their sexual desire is wrong. Like maybe. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm a talking monkey. Yeah, I just have the questions,
Because obviously what we're doing right now is not working, so let's try something else.
Yeah, and that's been the quest in my life. That's been like, hey, I hear what you're saying, right? I hear you giving me the prescription for life. You say, go to college, get a job, get a wife, get children, get cars, get homes, buy a lot of stuff. I hear you saying that. And I hear you telling me that prescription is supposed to result in my happiness. But then I see so many people that have done that and they're not happy, right? Like look at American society. This is a severely depressed, severely dysfunctional society. And I know that's judgmental, but I don't see any other way to describe it. Like, this is a dysfunctional society. So here's my question to you, Ali. And it's, you can take it either as rhetorically or a real question, but why would anyone take their marching orders for life from a dysfunctional society? That's a tough one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you ain't lying. Why are we even listening to these people?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Think about the success of the human species, right? Because what we know is that over 90% of all species that have come into existence on planet Earth have disappeared, right? They were not ready for prime time. They didn't evolve enough to maintain themselves in the ecosystem, right? So they went extinct. That's what happens. A lot of species on Earth were, as George Carlin described them, biological cul-de-sacs. They ran into a dead end and they couldn't get out, right? So how did humans propagate to the point where there's 8 billion of us on planet Earth, right? Now, in the beginning, none of these rules existed that I'm talking about, right? There wasn't the 3-date rule, and you got to bring flowers, and you got to buy dinner, and you got to bring candy, and February's coming, got to do something for Valentine's Day. We didn't have any of that stuff, right? We didn't have chew with your mouth closed. What we had basically was a man saw a woman saw a man. If they liked each other, they had sex and made a baby, and then everybody took care of the babies, right? That's how humans started, and that's what made humans successful. So imagine the rules that are just poured into our ears like poison our whole lives. Don't do this, don't do that, don't want this, don't think that, don't feel that, right? Imagine if all of those rules existed when we were in prehistory. I have to believe that humans would not have thrived if all these rules were in existence back then. And the only reason I believe that is because the rules were not in effect back then, and we did thrive, right? According to us now in 2023, the way humans behaved back then was wrong, right? Nobody was getting married. People were having sex whenever they wanted to. And the babies that came out were taken care of by the village. Because, the one thing that's been consistent is men went out and hunted and gathered, and women stayed back and took care of the children, took care of the home. That's always been in existence, right? So
what happens when the parents, the moms don't stay home? And they're not taking care of babies. They're too busy city girling.
But see, those are things that were invented by societies.
There you go.
Right? So that's why, I wonder if the essence of human beings was somehow more intelligent than we are now, because they were more successful than we are now, because the species is dwindling. I mean, look at the white race. We know that by roughly 2040, 2050, Black and brown people will be outpopulating them, right? I mean, maybe it's line dancing, I don't know, but their music is hard to bang to, you know what I mean? So, but it's like, there are failures that are occurring now that didn't occur when human beings first got to planet Earth. After the Ice Age 12,000 years ago, there's some people that believe that there were between 2,000 and 8,000 humans left on planet Earth. And in 12,000 years, we repopulated the Earth to 8 billion people.
Damn.
And some of that is from, the science of modernity and all these other things, and clean water and, a better food supply, so it's not like everything in modern times is worse, but in terms of human interaction, I just believe that there are too many rules that are at odds with how we are designed to actually behave with each other. And those rules are interfering with what is actually natural. And by the way, even though I don't, I'm not a religious person, but whether you believe that we evolved or that a creator created us and put us here, it doesn't matter. The design would still be the same, right? So whichever way we got here is immaterial. We got here and we are designed to behave in a certain way, and we behaved in that way for the longest time, and we're very successful. And now suddenly we're having problems that we never had before. So I got to wonder if these new rules and new ideas are really just not working for us. So that's it. I know my time is running out. Once again, it's Chocolate Yoddah, spelled Yoddah, because film studios are litigious. And as always, I love chatting with you. I appreciate that you let me on, man.
No, man, you always got the knowledge to spread out to the world. I love when you drop jewels, man. That's beautiful.
Thank you.